I just told the guys in the locker room, they did what they're supposed to in non-conference, and that's the previous 12 games and tonight, and right now we are, mid 30s in net ranking and probably go up maybe one or be about the same after tomorrow, and we put ourselves in position to have a chance in the SEC play, and the big goal is obviously NCAA tournament. We don't hide from that. We talk about winning right away. We know the challenges ahead, but I thought the guys were focused. They came out, they played well. The start was really good, and then I thought the start of the first half and the start of the second half was really good. And it's a lot of guys made plays tonight and played the right way.
Questions for the Tylers?
Tyler, I was like, Tyler, 19 points, 5 threes. What was working for you tonight?
My guys were just finding me, really. Like Coach said, we were just playing the right way. When the ball's popping, you catch it in rhythm, it's pretty easy to get going from there.
Tyler, no turnovers again. I mean, has it sunk in that you haven't turned the ball over, or do you not even really think much about that?
I try not to think about it because I think if I do think about it, then I'll end up making the wrong play. So I just try to make the right play every time and not worry about it.
Yeah, it feels like you guys have gotten a good amount of rest throughout these games. I mean, you get late in the second half, you might feel winded, but is that something that Coach B has been able to emphasize with you guys? Rest well, but also go out there and play hard.
Well, I think we're just really deep, like as a team. So not everybody has to be super exerted every game. We got a lot of guys that can contribute in positive ways. So you don't necessarily think of like I'm getting rest. It's just we have so many guys that can play that. We don't have to go to we're exhausted. None of us really do.
Tyler, are you excited for SEC play as a freshman?
Extremely. I'm always wanted to play in the SEC, so I'm blessed to be here with these guys, and I'm looking forward to SEC.
Tyler, do you have like a ball handling idol? Do you have a player that you admire?
I always watched Kyrie growing up, some
That's
of his
good.
workouts, and then a lot of his highlights. I would watch it a lot throughout my high school years.
So you've done his workouts that he has on like a video?
I've done some of them. I definitely can't do all of them, but I've tried to do some of them. Yes.
I know a guy that did a story once about how like it's like a video game with Kyrie. Like that's how crazy it is. So, but you can do some of them.
Yes, sir.
What's the one you can do? Can you tell me? Can you describe it to me?
There was one he did with a tennis ball. He would throw a tennis ball up and then do a certain set of moves. It's pretty simple. I bet a lot of guys do it, but that was one of them I did.
Do you find it helped you?
Yes. I don't think I do it enough to give it a ton of credit, but I think it did help me. Yes, sir.
Anything else for the guys? All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Get
Congratulations.
5 offensive rebounds.
7 rebounds.
You missed one of them, you got it back.
It doesn't count.
That's Moses Malone's strategy.
Yeah.
I gotta go back. They don't know who Moses Malone is.
Coach, margin of victory is so important, obviously, with the net. But how do you balance that with, playing time? Tyler talked about the depth you guys have. How do you balance, wanting to have your guys rested and ready to go for SEC play, as opposed to, hey, we need to win these games and win them big to an extent?
Yeah, I mean, we don't even worry about that going into the game. And, of guys being extended in minutes or shortened in minutes. I want guys to have a rhythm, and we got guys who deserve to play. And so I play the guys who deserve to play. We'll go as deep as we need to, or sometimes not as much. Maybe it changes in the SEC, maybe it doesn't. But one of the things I think was an advantage for us is when the guys come in, they play really hard. And our bench wasn't great in the first half. They were in the second half. But our bench has been probably as good as any bench in the country if you want to look at the first 12 games and how productive they've been. So we need everybody. And, on different nights have been different guys, but the energy and how hard we want to play, that's when our depth really does as a benefit for us.
What do you like about your team right now heading into SEC play, and what are some areas you'd like to improve with your team?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, we know we're not the biggest team, and, we got to rebound with all 5 positions. And, everybody thinks it's the center who rebounds, the biggest guy who rebounds. A lot of the best teams have guards who are getting 5, 6, 7, 8 rebounds, and that's some emphasis for us is the entire team rebounding. And, we know we got to execute better and find shots in possession games. And The fortunate part is, as far as the stress level, we haven't been in a ton of possession games. The unfortunate part of that is sometimes you need that experience to be in possession games, and we've had some of them. We've done well. Mainly I would say down in Charleston. I think we got a good taste of those. But at the same time, we're going to have to build along the way, get them in practices, and perform in those in the games.
So right away you mentioned your net rating. You knew that. What about like the AP and the coaches poll? Do you ever pay attention to that?
I don't pay attention to those. The selection committee, if they tell me they pay attention to them, I'll pay attention to them.
So you don't even know if you've got votes in it or if you're.
I have no idea. I don't know if we're 5. I don't know if we're 500. But I know that I check it pretty much every other day.
How about Ken Pom?
Ken Pom, because it gives us a lot of analytics that we look at. Our ranking and all that, but they do a good job of kind of going in depth with our offense efficiency and defense, and there's some numbers in there that we really use to kind of see what we're doing right and wrong.
Are there any other analytics you use?
We got a bunch of them now. We got a system called Just Play that gives us a bunch of numbers, different lineups, plus minus, points per possession. It can be overwhelming. The thing about it is I'm a numbers guy. I like numbers, and and even sometimes I'll look at them. They're stacked on my desk, and I got a different stat all over my desk. But at the same time, you're always trying to fight for an edge. You're trying to fight for 1 point, trying to find advantages, trying to find weaknesses and strengths of your teams, and trying to find it other teams too.
Coach, what's the practice look like? Obviously, New Year's coming up, and then LSU. When do you get into the LSU tape? And maybe you already have.
Yeah, LSU just played this team, and so we played New Orleans, and we watched them, and there's been some SEC common opponents that we watched. We haven't dug too deep of it as a staff. We did some this summer. We kind of just prepared for some scouting reports this summer, and obviously lineups change a lot with teams. But the guys, we got practice tomorrow too. Unfortunately or fortunately, we had to be off the next day because the NCAA rules. That's our one mandatory off day a week, and then we'll have 2 more practices for LSU. So we got a lot of things to work on. I'm excited about it. I want to take this team into these challenges. We know it's going to be adversity. We know it's going to be tough. And, speaking of analytics and the numbers, right now it's said to be the best league conference ever in history, and the toughest and best teams and everything else. And so we're glad to be a part of it. We did some of our work here in the non-conference, kind of helped that. And then we know it's going to be a war every SEC game. And, we got to try to battle and try to win as many of them as we possibly can.
I'm sorry, Billy. I got to go back to this Just Play because I'd never heard of it, and excuse me for my ignorance. Is that something readily available, or is that something you pay for?
It's a pay subscription.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously you trust it, or you're thinking about trusting it.
Yeah, with AI now and then some of these things in this world, you can kind of ask a question, they can give it to you. And instead of the old days where I used to have myself or somebody else adding things up or doing things like that. So a lot of ways the world's gotten simpler. Sometimes you get too much, makes it more complicated.
Saquon Barkley, that's all I'll say. I'm a Giants fan, and the analytics said don't sign him. And sometimes there's outliers even to analytics, right?
I wish he was a Dallas Cowboy right now.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley's an outlier to the analytics. So
yeah,
there's other things like that.
No, there's instincts, and there's the numbers and there's feel, and same thing in any sport. If you're a baseball manager and football, basketball, you sometimes got to trust your gut and trust your instincts and the feel of the game.
Anything else?
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Happy